And welcome into this edition of ACAP Today for the week of November 7th, 2022. I'm Jason Parent with the Aroostook County Action Program. On this week's edition, we're going to talk about the Housing Navigator Pilot Program. It's funded by Maine Housing and being administered locally here in Aroostook County by ACAP. We're going to talk about what that program means and the details of it with three of the navigators working in the program. We're going to do that in just a bit, but before we do that, as we do at each point in this broadcast, we're going to get first to the news and information that you can use about programs and services that ACAP offers at this time, as well as some of our community partners. And we begin in the news and information that you can use by just giving you a reminder that we're just 10 days away, or it's coming up on the 17th of November, the Helping Hands for Warm and Safe Homes Telethon, or Helping Hands Telethon as we call it. It's a partnership between ACAP, the United Way of Aroostook, and WAGM TV. We'll be on the air between 5:30 a.m. or 5 a.m. I should say, and 8 p.m. that day, collecting donations, collecting your support for helping people in Aroostook County keep their homes warm this winter, especially those who would fall through the cracks of not being eligible for other programs but are having a difficult time this year. And with the cost of fuel, we know that that's more families than we care to admit or care to have here in Aroostook County. So this year's telethon is critically important. At the same time that the telethon's happening with WAGM to receive calls for assistance to help others, we're also going to be keeping our home energy assistance program HEAP hotline live that day so that people can call in and apply on the spot that day, or schedule an appointment to apply at the nearest available appointment if nobody's available to take your call at that time. So mark the date on your calendar. It's Thursday, November 17th, 2022. All right, we're also reminding folks, this is the week. If you're watching this after Tuesday, you missed it, or I hope that you did it, but in-person voting is happening on Tuesday, November 8th. Please get out to the polls and vote. If you need any more information about voting, you can go to vote411.org and information is available there. We also want to remind folks, this is new information that we haven't shared yet this season, but ACAP is once again providing navigation services to community members who are looking for affordable health care through the state's health insurance marketplace. This was formerly the Obamacare, as it was called, but this is now under the state, and enrollment for the 2023 affordable health coverage is open now all the way through January 15th. So this is the period of open enrollment where folks can get into the marketplace or change any existing plans that they have to see what they might do to fare better. If you have any questions regarding your coverage or need assistance with enrolling, you can contact our own Lisa Bates. She's available at the email address there on your screen, lbates@acap-me.org, or you can call her at 764-3721, hitting extension 6 to reach Lisa for these services. We're also reminding folks that we do currently have Head Start openings in Presque Isle, Caribou, Houlton, Fort Kent, and Dyer Brook. It's rare that we have Head Start openings at this time of year, but if you think that your child could benefit from this program and that you might be eligible, we do encourage you to check it out. You can go to our website for a complete application. That's off of the Early Care and Education page of our ACAP website, or you can call 768-3045 to get more information about enrolling for Head Start and getting your child engaged in a tremendous program to help with their early childhood development. Moving on, we are reminding you that as the season comes in, as the cold weather settles into Aroostook County, although we've been fortunate up until this point, that our community closet project is outside of our 771 Main Street office and is available to anyone in need. This is a picture from the community closet last winter. You can see the snow there at the top of the picture, where we do try to house as many coats as donors bring in. So as soon as coats come into us, or if people hang them up in the closet themselves, we will get them out there, but we understand that there is a demand and a need for coats this time of the year. So please do consider dropping off your coats in the community closet or coming to check in the community closet if you are in need of a garment to stay warm this time of year. We are also reminding our community that there is a heavy need right now for ACAP's Community Cupboard. There are very many people experiencing food insecurity, and we are reaching out to our community to help us with our Community Cupboard, which is the most heavily used one in Aroostook County. It's directly located outside of our main entrance at our 771 Main Street Customer Service Center in Presque Isle. Each day, dozens of people come to that cupboard to pick up a snack item for their child or dinner for themselves. We are looking for sponsors to help us continue this project so we can keep that cupboard stocked. Please give Kim Garrett Michaud a call at our agency. You can call her directly at 532-5371 or at 764-3721 as well. If you want to make an online donation to support this project, you can go to the ACAP website at acap-me.org. No donation too big or too small, and it will be put right to use to purchase non-perishable food items for the community cupboard. We talked about this earlier, and in connection with the telethon, the Home Energy Assistance Program is running and in full swing right now. Appointments are being made as early as this month for folks who need an appointment, who haven't had one, and who aren't on the schedule. We've made a lot of changes with this program that is allowing us to help get that turnaround and that fuel assistance to folks a lot quicker. Income eligibility guidelines are there on your screen, but if you feel that you might be close to those income eligibility guidelines, or you've had something happen in your household and you look at the 1 month column there and say, gosh, we didn't bring in that much last month or right around that amount, please do consider reaching out, because we'll only look back for that 1 month. So if you were out sick with COVID and didn't have any time and went without a paycheck for a bit, now is the time to apply for HEAP just with those 1 month earnings from the last month, and we can help you access fuel assistance in this way. Now to our COVID corner of news, we're just reminding folks that as we get into the cold and flu season, we're seeing 3 predominant things: influenza, the RSV, and then the continued COVID-19, specifically the Omicron variant. If you are in need of a booster, and we're encouraging folks to get a booster this season as a result of the fact that they've been updating that booster to include protection against Omicron, please do give us a call if you are looking to schedule an appointment and otherwise aren't able to find one. Our reception team can help you do that by calling 764-3721. We also encourage you to visit the CDC, Maine CDC's COVID-19 vaccination website at maine.gov/COVID-19/vaccines to find a location near you. Continuing on in our COVID news and information you can use, COVID tests are available. There are 2 different sets that are available, and they keep refreshing both of these sites. So if you haven't ordered in a while from one site or the other, we encourage you to do that. Those 2 websites are covidtest.gov and accesscovidtest.org. And again, we encourage you to have a stockpile there as we head into the winter so that you can test as needed. And also, in terms of COVID-19, we do continue to offer isolation and quarantine services. That's for individuals who have actually been infected in their household and are in their household quarantining with COVID. You can go to the DHHS website to find out more information or to pick up the referral form right there. You can also call us here at ACAP at 764-3721 and ask for assistance to fill out the form so that we can get that request processed for you. And finally, in this week's news and information you can use, if you or your family are in need of any assistance at this point, we encourage you to contact us here at ACAP. We recognize that folks aren't used to navigating the complex social service system, and you may not be aware of what assistance is out there for you or what resource to reach out to. Our navigators can help you connect with resources not only here at ACAP, but with partner organizations across the community. So please do not hesitate if you are in need at this time to reach out to us, give us a call, and connect with a navigator here at ACAP. And with that, that's this week's news and information that you can use. I'm so pleased to welcome to the program our 3 guests this week. We're going to be talking with them about the Housing Navigator Pilot Program that, again, is funded by Maine Housing, and Aroostook County Action Program is the recipient and administrator of those dollars here in Aroostook County. I am so pleased to welcome to the program Holly Garrett, Shirley Wallace, and Michaela Deshane. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
So I'm going to sneak Michaela out of the conversation for a quick moment to start, because I want to start with you, Holly and Shirley, because this is a very timely and topical discussion. Both of you were presenting to a community task force yesterday about as the emergency rental assistance program kind of winds down, you've been both working on that project diligently, helping individuals who have been housing insecure or even homeless and helping to navigate them. Before we get into our talk about this new Housing Navigator pilot program, I want to talk with the both of you about what the time currently looks like right now and what that work is that you've done with people through the emergency rental assistance program. So maybe Holly, I can begin with you, and then we'll go on to Shirley for that.
So we had been working with the individuals for some time now. It's been a very emotional process in the end, definitely. So where we're at right now is we ended the program with a very limited number of individuals that ended up not having anywhere to go. Those individuals have been directed to and given information for resources. And also some of them have found a bed in the local Sister Mary O'Donnell homeless shelter here in Presque Isle. So I don't know the exact number in this moment today where we were at, but yesterday, as of yesterday, I think we left off with at the very end 17 households that didn't have a solid plan, and but the vast majority of those individuals have found shelter with their families or friends.
And I think that's important to note as well, Holly, that some of that is very difficult to quantify, as you pointed out, because folks were sort of not required to sort of discuss what their exit plan was, or, I mean, you encouraged it, you and Shirley and your colleagues helped them with that, but there was not a requirement to notify you, we're going here, we're going there, this is our plan, correct?
That's correct.
Now, I want to sort of broaden the conversation with you, Shirley, because I know that the work that you and Holly and others have been doing, a lot of it in this last month, especially of the hotel program, has obviously been focused on helping to individuals who otherwise didn't have a home to go to or a roof over their head in that program to be securely housed to the extent possible that we were able to help with that. But there's been an extended amount of work that you, Holly, and your colleagues have done with others in the emergency rental assistance program who are maybe precariously housed or in a situation where they may have difficulty sustaining rent moving forward. Talk about some of the greater work that you've done as a navigator in that program.
Oh, yes, of course. So part of that work, we had people that were struggling, like maybe having issues with their landlords or tenants in the buildings that they've been staying in. So we would work with the landlords and the client to try to be that middle person between them to work out what they would need to do, or if they were struggling rent wise, like we would help get them in a situation where they didn't have to lose their tenancy at that particular unit. So that's really good. And if there was some issues where they had to leave, we would connect them with Pine Tree Legal in order to try to work that out legally. And some of them did get to keep their homes. Unfortunately, like some situations weren't able to, be remedied, but, we worked real hard about trying to keep them sheltered in the place that they were at.
One last question on this topic, and whichever one of you wants to address it is fine before we move on, but Shirley used the word where we were connecting someone to a service, whether it would be Pine Tree Legal. In both the cases of the folks that you were working with under the emergency rental assistance that were in apartments, precariously housed, if you will, and those that were in the hotel portion of the program, there was a significant amount of networking done by the two of you again and your colleagues for individuals, correct, to connect them to a variety of services. Maybe talk about the kinds of connections that were made in the ways that you help those individuals beyond just with the housing issues specifically.
Absolutely. We would connect them with the Hope and Prosperity Center with Michaela, because a lot of people needed documents in order to get housing or work. So we would connect them there so they could get birth certificates, social security cards, and identification. We also helped them if they were in crisis. We connected them with crisis services and helped get referrals done for case management. The Career Center, we had helped them connect with Career Center, workforce development. If they were in need of WIC, we would do referrals for WIC service. Holly, am I missing?
No, I think so I think it's important to note that we were at the hotels. So I'll use that for an example. We were there, we had staff there every day of the week. So some of this is the beginning of each client that we'd work with, we would do an assessment, and that assessment would identify what their current barriers and needs are. So some are different. Maybe they can't get a job because they don't have childcare. That would be something we'd work on. If they have food, if they're insecurity, we would definitely make sure that they've applied for food stamps. And so it's a wide range of resources that we would assist them with. And also during this process, there was a number of people who were able to obtain housing. And in addition to that, the Hope and Prosperity Resource Center helped them with furniture and household items to start off with as well. So it was ongoing.
And I think just one last thing to note, and I promise, because I kind of said the last question was going to be my last one, but just as a clarifier for folks, because I think a lot of folks incorrectly made the assumption that individuals that were staying in the hotels through the ERA program were all from outside the area, and that's not nearly true at all, is it? Actually, it was a very small percentage that were from outside the area.
Yes,
That's
that's correct. There was just a small, tiny percentage. A lot were from Aroostook County area, many from Presque Isle and Caribou, but it branched from like Holton, Fort Fairfield. But the amount of people from outside of Aroostook County was just minuscule.
Indeed. All right. So now I'm really excited because I want to switch us gears to the real topic of this week's edition of ACAP Today, and that's the Housing Navigator Pilot Program. Who wants to start by just telling me what this program is all about so we can get a context set for folks that are watching this program and for myself? Do we want to start with Michaela on this one, or Holly, are you?
I'll start.
Okay.
So basically the Housing Navigator Pilot Program is funded through Maine Housing. There are 3 core components to this program. There's landlord engagement, pre-tenancy supports, and housing stability services. So basically we will start by developing relationships with landlords to try to encourage them to open up rentals, and perhaps work with the Housing Choice Voucher Program that also offers incentives for landlords that accept individuals that carry a voucher through Section 8. It goes on a little bit deeper after the individual is housed. We continue offering support for the first year. We will advocate for them, help problem solve if there's any issues. So we're basically serving as the middleman for any potential issues. And so basically our goal is to keep them secure, housed securely and stably, and also help them a little bit with understanding, the basics on, obtaining leases that you can actually afford and, to have sustainable housing.
Certainly, Holly, all of those things are very challenging right now. And I know, Michaela, a lot of the work that you have been doing in the Hope and Prosperity Resource Center with your colleagues there, and really the intentional founding of the Hope and Prosperity Resource Center back in the fall of 2019 is all about trying to connect individuals who are experiencing homelessness or housing insecurity, first and foremost with housing, and then of course employment and other opportunities come with that and become much more clear once you get folks housed. But that's not an easy task right now. It was a lot, I dare say, easier back in the fall of 2019 when the Hope and Prosperity Resource Center opened. I think it was an average of 6 weeks of service, and you could have somebody housed back in that day. And I know you weren't with us then, but it's a very different picture right now in terms of helping individuals get into housing, isn't it?
It sure is. We've been struggling a lot lately just because as soon as we see an application pop up, whether if it's on our marketplace on Facebook or if someone tells us about something, as soon as we hear about it, we are jumping on it. But so is 20 plus other people. And so that's been a complete struggle because it's not just us and all the people that we serve here, it's countywide. Other people might be looking to improve the housing that they're currently in. And it's a real struggle because we just don't know outside of the realm that we have, how many other people are struggling with housing as well.
And surely to that point, when it's what I consider right now sort of a landlord's market where they may have 20 plus applicants and interested individuals looking to get into a particular unit, that makes your challenge all that more difficult if you think back and listen to what some of the things that Holly talked about in terms that are of our connections with this program. And we're talking about vouchers and things like that. That adds to a degree of difficulty as opposed to if you have somebody that's just going into an apartment that, you know, has the income to be able to pay for the full rent and the like. So do you face that a lot? I know in this, you're transitioning into this work, but even in the ERA work where you were able to find vouchers for people, it's not the easiest thing to sort of clear that hurdle, is it?
No, it's not. It's been very rough and difficult because a lot of people wanted like cash in hand. They would take the cash in hand first. A lot of the population that we tend to struggle with has had barriers in the past, which caused like maybe them not to have such a good rental history. That's why this program, this pilot program is perfect, because a big part of it is landlord engagement. So when we try to engage with landlords, we're offering to assist a client and to help with any barriers that they have for that first year of tenancy. So we try to discuss with them about, you know, maybe let us know instead of posting it on Facebook right away, maybe let us know so they don't have 400 applicants calling them all at once. Maybe, you know, if they call us and let them know what they have available, we can find the right fit, and we'll be sure and ensuring them that we're going to work with these people and with them for at least the first year to make sure that everything's going right. And if there is any issues, we're going to work hard with both the landlord and the tenant to, you know, remedy any issues that can arise.
Great. So Holly, maybe talk about what some of those supports are that Shirley's referencing there. What would you, Shirley and Michaela, do as navigators to work with, or in between, if you will, or in partnership with both the landlord and the tenant that will help, you know, sort of bridge that divide, make a difference, make the landlord feel like there are more assurances that they will have a successful tenant in their apartment?
Well, so, well, first, I think that this is a big piece. The biggest piece of this is to help landlords feel more confident in these rentals, and the success of these rentals. So maybe it's a complaint, maybe there's neighbor complaints, maybe there's misunderstanding, maybe the tenant doesn't understand part of the lease. All of those things, we can act and serve as, like I said, an advocate for them to try to work these things out with the landlord. So a problem solving, being creative on ways to just make sure that everyone's happy all the way around.
Now, Michaela, with your connections and your work in the Hope and Prosperity Resource Center, I'm imagining that there's going to be critical and key linkages in a lot of this work. Maybe foundationally will start in this space with individuals who are working with each day that we're trying to get housed.
So right now we're in the process of planning different classes that we could possibly help teach our clients about different things when they move into their place. So I know that we have a class, Rent Smart, coming up in the next week or so. So that will be an exciting class. We just had a self-confidence class with New Ventures this afternoon. So we talked about different ways that they could self-care, or like things that they know that they're good at, they could work on to improve possibly. So we are working on classes in the center to possibly assist with anything they might need to get themselves successful in a rental.
So Shirley, that brings me to a great point, because Michaela just sort of gave the direct connections for folks who are in center at center now. But you talked earlier about individuals and you know, we were talking about the ERA program, but others as well, that are housing insecure and maybe are sleeping on a family member's or a friend's couch or what have you, and maybe seeing this or hearing about this program, and they don't necessarily come each day to the Hope and Prosperity Resource Center, maybe don't even know that those services are available. How does someone like that connect with this particular program and be able to benefit from it?
Well, we're working on creating a referral process. All the kinks haven't been, worked out on that, but however, they can reach out to ACAP and ask for myself, Shirley Wallace, or Holly Jarrett, and we'd be willing to put them in, like, under our one or the other, like, or we'll both work together on it, and we'll start working away at it. Then we'll start working on what barriers they may have had in the past and what they're expecting from an apartment and what is reasonable for them to pay for an apartment so that they'll be able to, keep the apartment.
Holly, Michaela mentioned classes that are being taught that sort of run parallel and as part of this program, but it sounds like what Shirley was saying is in addition to sort of that larger, like maybe opportunity for groups to work together or to learn skills, that the relationship like with either one of you is critical, and it's also customizable, that the service and the needs are customizable really to the customer and the landlord that you're working with them. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. Every situation is different. Everyone has different barriers and situations. So there is not a one size fits all in any of these situations. So it is, yes, absolutely.
Great. Okay, so I know that you folks had some things that you wanted to make sure that people understood about this program. What in the time that we've been together have we not covered that you want to make sure folks walk away with from our conversation?
I just want I want them to understand anybody who is anybody can access the Hope and Prosperity Resource Center. So it's for anybody who's not just experiencing homelessness, but someone who is just, they need help with a housing application or any other kind of application. We have the workforce development team come 3 to 4 times a week that could assist anybody in the community looking for a job. So we're here as a listening ear, but we're also here with extra resources and help for anybody who is in need.
And I think as Holly and Shirley both indicated earlier, and consistent with what you just said, Michaela, it also is even for more basic items than that, like if they need to get an identification card or key things that become impediments to getting those larger items like housing and employment, those very basic items that altogether too often are what are a reason why somebody isn't housed or somebody isn't employed. That's what you and your team help with, correct?
Absolutely. Yes. We're actually taking folks to get IDs next week.
Great. So that's an important part of the process, because really, if you don't have an ID, you really don't, it's a non-starter. And many of those documents are critical. So what about you, Shirley, and then you, Holly, about anything that we've sort of left on the cutting room floor that you want to make sure people know?
I think people need to be aware that this program is here because, it's fairly new program and it's a very great support system, especially for people that don't have like a support in place, because some people need support, especially for housing, because, it's hard. Life is hard, and we all could use a support system, even with our housing, anything surrounding housing, like, we're here to help and we're here to support, and we'd love to put you on our list of people to help do that.
And Holly, as I go to you for a last word, as Shirley says that, when Shirley mentions that, she's not just meaning in the Caribou Presque Isle area, this is countywide, and folks from up in Fort Kent and down to Dyer Brook and Allagash and the whole 9 yards can certainly connect with us and receive this service as well, correct?
Absolutely.
And anything else you wanted to make sure gets out there?
I just want to say that I want everyone to know that this agency as a whole is a very proactive agency, we have a lot of programs and services. You don't need to wait until you're in crisis or, you know, things are absolutely bad. You can absolutely reach out to us before that. Because part of our role is to prevent these kind of things from happening to individuals. So I think that's important for everyone to know.
And I think what's also important that as I look on the screen at the three of you, the four of us actually are all standing in a building that, gosh, certainly by 18 months from now, hopefully a little sooner than that, will actually be a supportive housing complex, and we'll have the newly repurposed and renovated Hope and Prosperity Resource Center, which Michaela is a part of, and that facility will be part of this facility where there will be 13 units and staff on site to work with individuals each and every day, in much the same regard that we're talking about this Housing Navigator program, but in a fixed base, one spot location. So the work that you're doing is sort of pioneering that in a sort of not fixed base location, sort of in a community extended location. But I'm looking forward to sort of seeing the results, because really that's the sign of things to come in terms of our supportive housing project. So we're excited about that project, but also excited about the launch of this pilot program and the wonderful work that the three of you will do to connect people with housing. And as Holly indicated, a comprehensive agency that connects folks with multiple services. So. All right, I think that we've pretty much talked this one out, huh? Anything we missed? Just one last check? No? Okay, great. All right, so I want to thank the three of you, and I also want to thank folks out there who have joined us in this edition of ACAP Today for watching us. Before we leave you all, though, we want to share with you, as we do at each point in the broadcast toward the end, our snapshot of the week. And all this year, we're getting nearer to the end of the year, certainly nearer to the end than to the beginning. Our snapshots of the week have been throwback snapshots of the week to recognize the fact that this is ACAP's 50th anniversary. So this week we go back to the year in 1980. And in 1980, a group of children and I recognize sort of the buildings around this. This is definitely in the industrial park area here in Presque Isle, not far from our One Edgemont Drive office, where our team members and our children in early care and education programs were enjoying a fall hayride in the season. Some of them are even dressed for Halloween in the season, but they look like they were having a good time. And we always have a great time with our children in our early care and education programs. Somehow I can't imagine us doing this today, though, because I think we just have, like, it's just like we're all in, all children are in car seats today. I think this is kind of definitely a throwback picture to the sign of the times that we want to make sure that we're being a little bit more cautious with children, but we still have a good time in all of our programs. And we want to thank our team members from back in the day, back in 1980, and all of our professionals across the agency, whether it's in early care and education, workforce development, housing or energy, housing stability, like our folks here, or prevention and health. They're all working hard every day to serve the people of Aroostook County from the stem to the stern of the county. So we thank them all the time. And we thank again all of you for joining us on this edition of ACAP Today. We'll be back next week with a brand new edition, and we hope you join us then. See you later.